fingerprinty. Gross. There we go. Hey. Get this off too. Hey. That's much better. Good afternoon. Welcome to Highdeology. Ye few early adopters. Let's be honest here, the first 3 to 5 to 10 people that are in these are the best people. I know the best people, trust me. Nobody knows the best people better than I know the best people. And let me tell you, these are the best people. Oh, I'm sorry, there are 38 people now. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I kind of don't want to get in the habit of saying you guys' name, but sometimes I want to. Sometimes I want to just like be like, hey, what up to the first few people, you know? Hello, Mr. Naughty Priest. Just to make sure, once again, I am on the Highdeology channel, right? We can confirm this. I'm always, like, I'm very afraid that I'm going to fucking stream to the wrong channel one day. Okay, thank you. Dude, you guys ain't even gonna believe me if I tell you. You ain't even gonna believe me if I tell you it's one of those things that happened like that. And it was the dopest thing I think I've ever done. Excuse me. Pardon me. Singing the song of my people. So this little pipe. Now this would not have been catastrophic, but this is an example of stoner reflexes, okay? This little pipe that I have, it's made of wood. If I would have dropped it onto the concrete out here, it would have been fine. It probably would have just went clack, and that's fine. But I was sitting down to set this up. I was getting all the stuff on the table moved around where I needed it, you know, getting my smokes over here, getting the ashtray moved. And my hand hit this, and it fell, right? I didn't even see it happen. I was looking somewhere else. Like I was grabbing for my drink here or something, and this hand hit this, right? So this fucking thing, you guys are gonna have to look at my crotch to get this. This fucking thing, right? It goes, right? It goes all the way down between my legs, and without even thinking, I didn't even see it happen. I clapped my feet together and caught it like this, like between my feet. I fucking shit you not. Didn't even look at it. I just felt it fall, and I was like, clap. And I looked down, and there it was. And I was like, am I Morpheus? Am I Neo? Did I just enter the fucking Matrix for a second or some shit? That may have been the dopest thing I ever did. That may have been, like, hands down the dopest thing I ever did. Like, I can't think of something doper than that. Or that happened. I know, I can't even prove it. That's the fucked up thing about that, is that the only person that witnessed it is Dinor, and he ain't talking. Weed flexes, yeah. That's what I call them, weed flexes. It's a real thing amongst stoners, man. We ain't trying to drop that shit. For why turn camera around? For blow nose and pick nose with rag. Could you catch it? Dude, I've saved Dinor's life with those reflexes before. I've told you guys that story. Saved Dinor's life when he was a puppy. He was about to be crushed by a big fat oaf named Paul's ego. I was carrying his little puppy ass down the steps. And these were like, I was living in San Antonio, those cheap apartments that have the hella steep steps. So I'm taking him down those steps kind of absentmindedly, and I missed a step at the end. Like I thought I was at the end of the stairs and I wasn't looking down, and I just like stepped out like there was going to be air, you know, ground there. and there was no ground. And so I had Dinor like in my arms, and I went flying forward. Like my momentum was all that way, and I couldn't stop it without dropping him on the fucking stairs, and that wasn't gonna happen. So I fell, and right at the last minute, I tossed Dinor to the side, and he rolled, and I landed smack on my chest. Fractured a rib, but his little ass was fine. Weed flexes. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Naughty Priest, by the way. I don't know if I thanked you. I'm real bad about thanking people, and you of all people, I should make sure to say thank you. So thank you, Mr. Naughty Priest. You are appreciated. You got a Jorb? Congratulations. Congratulations. Do. Paul, could you ever work a regular job again? Absolutely. If I have to, I'll do it. Like, people, like, there's a lot of people that will hang that over, like, internet personalities or people that make their money in what's considered to be a non-traditional way, which I don't know why it's considered that, by the way, still, but whatever. There are people that think that way, and they think that, like, oh my fucking God, what will you do if all this dries up? And I'm just like, I'll go fucking get a job. Like, what? Like, I worked like 18 years of my life at normal jobs. I'll be okay. I'll find a little something, and that'll be that. Invest in Dogecoin.
You know it's illegal to invest in onion futures.
It's illegal to invest in onion futures?
Yep, they had to make a whole act in the 50s because they crashed the onion market trying to short onions.
These motherfuckers shorted the onions? Yeah. And now you can't trade onions because some...
I mean, onions are like the most popular fucking vegetable.
They crashed the fucking onion market in the 50s?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
They were shorting the onions? Why would you short onions? Onions are delicious.
They're in every goddamn
They're part of the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
You can't cook good food without onions, usually. They are part of the goddamn... They shorted onions?
Fucking bastards.
The Reddit attack on Wall Street gives me some hope for organization against the upper class in this country. Well, I mean, me too. I mean, it shows that a relatively small group of people with a common purpose can really kick the beehive financially, which is good. What we need to do is have leftists that are, trying to beat these shorts and make a bunch of money doing it. Like, invest that money in a national labor movement. Like, we need to, like, combine what's going on Wall Street right now with some kind of, like, hey, we're going to put fucking forth 30% of whatever we gain towards this so that we can make it happen. So that we can start building some capital amongst the people that's for the people. That's what I would like to see come of it. But hopefully it reminded people who thought it impossible that a small group of people with the right plan and in solidarity with one another, because that is really what happened that allowed this GameStop stock shit to happen. That's what all the hold memes were about. That's solidarity there. That's a bunch of people saying, hey, we're going to fucking buy this out and we're going to hold this fucking stock. And if you do it, we're going to make a bunch of fucking money. But everybody has to fucking hold. So it shows that indeed people of different backgrounds, and because you know that there were people all over the political spectrum involved in this, whether you're talking about the base group of people that started it on our Wall Street bets or the mass amount of people that took, you know, part in it. You had liberals, conservatives, anarchists, fucking who cares, I don't give a shit, like you had people fucking jumping, all working together on this. Perfect example of solidarity. And look at the power it had. Didn't bring down the markets, and fundamentally will probably just end in rules being changed to make it harder for us to do what they did. But look at the kerfluffle that just a small, relatively group of people were able to cause. You'd be frizzled at work right now. Sorry. I'd be frizzled at home right now. Yeah, no caps, dipshit. And I'm not closed. I'm open for business. Business is booming, baby. Oh, goodness. I remember you saying you used to binge drink in your 20s. How did you stop that habit, and was it hard? It wasn't hard, because that's the easiest one to answer. How did I stop? I just made a conscious effort to not do it as much. Really, honestly, what it came down to is I stopped spending time around the people that were constantly doing that, and that was the hard thing. You know, I wasn't to the point where I think I was in alcoholic territory, although if I had kept drinking like I did in my early and mid 20s especially, I was on the fucking way there. But, you know, I don't remember going through withdrawals or it really being all that hard. But what was hard was resisting the temptation to go to these places, because there was a lot of peer pressure amongst my friends. They didn't want to understand that I didn't want to drink anymore. And so they would invite me to shit, and I would go, and I would purposefully get hit up by a bunch of my friends. Oh, come on, man, just have some booze, man, just get drunk, man. Let's get wasted like we used to. I don't understand what the problem is, blah, 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 blah. And it was just like, what they didn't like wasn't that I wasn't coming around as much. What they didn't like was that they looked at my choice to stop doing that type of shit as an indictment of their choice to do it, which it wasn't. I have no fucking qualms with anybody drinking themselves straight to the fucking grave if they want to. Now, if you're one of my loved ones, I might have a fucking intervention with you or some shit, but
You're not gonna have it in your house.
it is your right to do so. But, you know, I never judged them for it, but I just had to stop hanging around with those people as much. And once it normalized and shit and leveled off, I started seeing not all of them, but some of those people again. And some of those people all but disappeared from my life for a long time or forever. I mean, that's the sacrifice you have to make if you're kind of caught in that binge drinking shit. You probably would drink me under the table now.
I don't know. Isn't Jason a pretty small dude?
Yeah, Jason's a wispy little wisp of a man. It's a slip of a man.
It wasn't that long ago you did the drinking contest.
Yeah, I mean, I drank a lot, but you saw what it did.
Yeah.
Fucked me right up 12 ways from Sunday. I'm not interested in doing the whole man drinking thing, so I just concede. You win.
Two white Russians and you're out cold? Jesus, Jason.
At what point in the labor movement would you consider it appropriate for podcasters, video content creators, and influencers to unite under one union? Is there a union strategy that works for them? I don't see why not. I mean, There have been people that have talked about a content creators union or a YouTube creators union and stuff, and it's really kind of fizzled and turned into nothing. But
As far as you understand, you can't join the Google union.
right, I'm not actually an employee of Google. I'm a contractor, or not even that. I don't even have a contract with Google. I don't even know what my status is, but I'm definitely not a member of Google Corp at all.
Like a vendor almost.
Yeah, I guess so. Independent vendor, independent contractor, or whatever the fuck. What do you think of Robert the Doll? I don't. Do you or TJ have any thoughts on the Manson thing? I mean, I don't. You guys know how I react to this Me Too shit. You know what I mean? I take it with a grain of salt. You know, I don't want to invalidate any kind of abuse that Evan Rachel Wood might have gone through. But I also don't want to fucking crucify Marilyn Manson, although he would probably like that. He'd probably like the imagery of it. But
It's so fucking new right now that
nobody knows. Here's what I will tell you guys. I've been in a lot of long-term relationships, and I've had a lot of friends that have been in a lot of relationships. And I'll tell you this, like, when people bust up, sometimes shit gets really nasty between these people. Like, they will snipe at each other, make shit up about each other. It happens on both sides of things. Like, there's always this, there's some of it's very volatile. And to take that into account here, we don't know what happened between the two of these people. Let the courts decide if she's going to bring a complaint or whatever. Beardly and sexy today, Paul. How's Corona over there? It's pretty much like it is everywhere in the United States, out of control, unaddressed properly, etc. Still waiting till I can go get my fucking coronavirus vaccine. Which, who the fuck knows when that'll actually be.
you just had your two father-in-laws get it, and that's about it in terms of who you heard get it.
Yep. Yep. If you think the U.S. is handling it bad, you should see England. I've heard that England is having a fucking massive problem right now. It makes sense. More population density on a smaller patch of fucking land means more commerce, means more people moving. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier to take a day trip from one side of jolly old England to the other than it is the United States. And so they've got an incredible population density problem there, and that's going to make... And a conservative government, as I understand it, right?
They're doing all the Brexit shit, so they're probably arguing with the EU over vaccines and shit.
It's mostly just really stupid decisions. Well, whatever.
We fucking almost did the American coup with Meghan Markle, but they were just too mean to her.
True.
We almost had an American fucking queen, dude.
We were getting there. We were close. But they were never going to let that happen. There's a movie about that. What is that movie called? It's got John Goodman in it. King George or King... What's the fucking one where he's just some schlub from like New York or some shit, and he gets this letter in the mail saying that he's like
The heir apparent.
the heir apparent. Yeah, King Ralph. Yeah. It's a pretty funny movie as I remember, but I haven't seen it in a long time. But yeah, that's basically the comedy movie about the scenario we're talking about having an American sitting on the throne of England. Hey Paul, I watched the Female Monsters ep again. Did you ever watch those Filipino Aswang movies? I went looking for them. I watched a movie that was called Aswang, but it was not that movie. So apparently, because it's such a well-known folk tale in Thailand or wherever I think it was Thailand, right?
Oh, they just said Filipino.
Or Philippines. Sorry, I knew it was one of the two. Yeah, the Filipino kind of folklore or whatever is strong enough to where there's multiple movies where if you type in like Aswang Filipino movie, you get a bunch of movies, and I haven't been able to find the ones that we watched. I'd probably have to order them on DVD, to be honest with you, because they're not available on any of the streaming platforms. I haven't been able to find. I'm sure I could probably torrent them or some shit, but I don't do that shit.
It's just not worth it to torrent it compared to.
I don't fuck around with torrenting anymore. I don't think I've ever told you. Have I told you guys the story? I feel like I'm far away from it enough now that I can finally tell you guys one of the stories that I've held back on. And I don't know why. I mean, it's not like it's that big a deal or anything, but I don't think I've ever told the story of how I was. No, maybe I have. How I was the victim of a copyright troll law firm. Yeah, I guess I have told you guys that shit. Dude, I'll tell you what, man. On DP long ago, yeah. I mean, I won't, drag it out, but the basics of it are I was living in a house that I owned, and I was subletting one of the rooms in that house to a friend of mine. He was living in it. And he would pay us a flat amount for rent every month, and that included all the utilities and shit. So he was, of course, on the Wi-Fi and shit. And this was like I want to say this was in like 2013 or 14 or something like that. It was like maybe even a little earlier. It might have been 2012 or 2011. I don't know. It was in that zone, right? And torrenting everybody was doing it. You get uTorrent. You go to Pirate Bay. So I have never been the type of guy. Number one, I'm not a big porn guy. So to get that out of the way. It's not that I don't watch it. It's just that I don't ever want, I've never been attached to a piece of porn to the point where I need to keep it. So I'm fine with like streaming shit. Were VPNs a thing back then? Sure. Definitely not as accessible as they are now. But yeah, you could get a VPN back in the day, but I didn't. Most people didn't. It was stupid of me, sure. I should have at least forced him to be on a VPN. But anyway, so I would use it every once in a while to download like a movie that I couldn't find or whatever. But I used it pretty infrequently. Sometimes for music. You got to remember back then there wasn't like this. Like there are several like libraries of music now that you can go to online and either pay a fee for, or in the case of YouTube, hear any song that's ever been made for free if you watch the ads and shit. So that shit wasn't like that back, what I'm talking about. So people would torrent like albums a lot. And so that, that was usually what I was torrenting was movies and albums and shit. Well, this dude that was my roommate at the time, he had a different use for uTorrent. Downloading giant titty porn and cream pie porn. and sometimes giant titty cream pie porn. But definitely giant titties. That was definitely a theme that was across this. Right. Oh, that's another thing I would like to mention. I, for my uses, had an account on this website called Demonoid, which I don't even know if it's a tracker anymore, but it was back in that day, it was a private tracker. So you had to be invited by somebody that was in Demonoid to get into it. Totally private, totally insulated tracker, and it was really good for movies and music and shit like that. Demonoid was not great for porn. And so he would use the Pirate Bay for his porn. Because I guess going to any fucking site and streaming big titty porn was too tough for him. He had to own the tits. He had to own the cream pies that landed sometimes in the tits. You know what I mean? So anyway, one day I'm sitting at home after work watching my fucking TV stoned. And ding dong, somebody rings my doorbell, which is totally like, nobody comes visit me because they know I don't want them to. So I was like, who the fuck is this? It was a mail carrier with a package for me that had to be signed for. It's like a manila envelope. And so I signed for it and he hands it to me. And inside the envelope was a packet like yay thick informing me that I was currently a John Doe in a lawsuit against something like 22 defendants filed by this one law firm. So I'm like reading through this shit. It was thick. So I'm like, and as I'm going through, I'm like, what? And then I got to the page of like, your infractions are, or whatever the fuck it was, and it was like big floppy milkers 2, giant cream pie titty fest 8. And I was like, oh my fucking God, you gotta be kidding me, bro. And it's all just, it's just shit that I didn't do. So there's one culprit, because I was married at the time to my ex-wife, and trust me, it wasn't her what did it. And I knew I didn't do it. I don't think it was like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like big jugs, cream pie honeys. It was just fucking whatever. Did he deny it? Fuck no. So here's what happened. Took it to my ex-wife, my now ex-wife. Was like, look at this shit. She starts flipping through it. She gets to this point, and she's like, oh my fucking God. She knew, it was immediate. She knew immediately that it was not me. You know what I mean? She knew immediately it wasn't her. And so anyway, I wasn't all that worried about it. I was like, this is probably just bullshit. People get these all the time, these like stop watching things. That's what I thought it was. Stop downloading from the ISP. No, this was from the ISP telling me that they were going to reveal my name, so that I would no longer be a John Doe in this lawsuit, and I would be named in the lawsuit, which is something, by the way, that ISPs don't do anymore. ISPs have a standing, when it comes to these kind of copyright infringement claims, people remain does. Now, it doesn't matter. They still nail you, because a court order can force them to do it. But the point is that most of these things never get to the point where a court order is ever filed. Most of these things never get to the point where a court date is ever attended. They are meant as extortion schemes. I did not know this. So my ex-wife reads through the whole fucking thing, and she goes, we're being fucking sued in a lawsuit. And they're saying for each one of these, we're going to owe them $5,000. So the total was something like $25,000. And so we took it to this dude. He comes home from work, and we're just like waiting for him there. Like a couple of vampires, you know what I mean, that invited him over to dinner. He was like, what's up? I was like, sit down. And I just slid it across the table to the page where it was like cream pie honeys, sloppy floppy nippies or whatever the whatever it was. And I slid it over across the table and I just looked at him. And he read it and he was like, "Oh fuck." He was like, "Yeah, that's me." And so he goes like, "You know what I'm gonna do, dude? I'm gonna call these people right now." This is how stupid he was. "I'm gonna call these people right now and tell them that this had nothing to do with you, that it was me that did it." And I was like, "Shut up. You're not gonna call anybody. You don't ever, because here's the thing, you did it on my internet, you oaf." He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna call the people that are suing you and tell them that, like, no, you're suing the wrong guy. It was me."
He admits fault.
"Oh yeah, what's your address?" "Same address as the guy you're suing." "Oh, who owns the internet on the IP address that you were logged using?" "Same guy you're suing." Shut up. You're not going to them. You keep your mouth shut. He was like, "Well, I just want to let you know, anything you have to pay, I'm good for it." And I was like, "No, you're not." I looked him straight in the face and I was like, "No, you aren't. You're not good for $25,000, motherfucker, and you know it. You know it. Neither am I right now. If I had to make it happen, I could sell some shit and make it happen, but you ain't got 25 grand." So anyway, long story short, I lawyered up. The lawyer looked over the shit and was like, "This is complete bullshit." Sent them a letter like, "Quit bothering my client with these fictitious lawsuits," because he looked into it and no lawsuit had been filed at all at that point. And really what it said in the first packet of paperwork that these people sent me, because I didn't get a lawyer until they sent me something. So these people, this law firm that was suing me, sent me this shit. And I was reading through it and they were offering me like, "We can settle this out of court so that your name doesn't have to go through this and that you don't have to attend all this, for $5,000. But if this goes to court, you're liable for 35, or whatever it was, 25 grand." And so at that point, lawyered up. And the lawyer was like, "This is complete and utter bullshit." He went and looked and there was absolutely no pending litigation filed at all. And so he wrote him this letter that was pretty badass. He was like, "Cease your harassment of my client immediately. He's not part or party to any of the fictitious lawsuits that you insinuate in the packet that you sent." And so they sent me one other thing, and he sent them one other letter, and then they just disappeared. And that law firm no longer exists anymore. It was busted out because eventually the practice of this copyright trolling shit was, there was something went all the way to the fucking Supreme Court in a state, and now there's precedent that keeps law firms from exploiting this so fucking.
And there's still copyright trolls that fucking claim like public domain shit. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, the public domain shit, but that's different. They're getting restitution immediately by getting the winnings from the ad revenue. They're not trying to sue you anymore. See, it used to be a racket, and here's how the racket works, guys. In case it's not all fucking clear to you. This lawsuit was meant to embarrass people. It's like holding an embarrassment gun to somebody and saying, "Give me 5 grand, or else I'm going to tell everybody that because it, like, look, dude, if I was named in a fucking lawsuit, that's public shit. People can do a records request on me and get the fucking shit from that lawsuit. And you know what they're going to see? Flip floppy floppers, drippy nippers. You know what I mean? And they take that fucking, like, people's fear of having their good name attached to that type of shit because they looked at some porn, and they try and get 5 or 10 grand out of you in extortion money. Well, the problem with me is I would rather pay a quarter of that to a lawyer and not give a shit whether my name is connected to floppy drippers or slippy nippers. if somebody looks that up and they got a problem with me looking at big old floppy titties, I don't know what to tell them. It was never their fucking business in the first place. So they didn't have me. They weren't going to strong arm me into paying them a fucking dime, especially after I figured out what it was they were doing. Shame scamming, exactly. It's like they're looking, they target people in like, their target is exactly what I was. Like lower middle income people who are trying to move up in the world, like in their 30s, just getting settled in the world, and all of a sudden threatening with this life-destroying lawsuit, right? But you can get out of it for $5,000 today. Selling a saved face, yeah. What a bunch of ghouls, exactly. I mean, so that was, and I got to tell you guys, as funny as that story is, you have no fucking clue how scared shitless I was for months about that shit. Like, I was fucking terrified, not of my name being connected to Slippy Nippers or whatever the fuck, but of having to pay somebody $35,000 or more and court fees and shit. I thought it was going to happen for months until I finally found, go get your ball. I finally found, on the is it the Digital Frontier Foundation? There's a nonprofit.
EFF?
Yeah, Electronic Frontier Foundation had an article fully explaining copyright trolls and what to do if you have been the victim of a copyright troll. And I was able to read testimonials from people who had gone through exactly what I was going through. And so that was like, once I found that, I was like, holy shit, okay, we're all right. But I'm telling you, it was like at least how did you find a lawyer? I was lucky to know had a friend of the family that was able to refer me to a lawyer. So, and they weren't like some specialty lawyer. It was like a family law attorney that did it for me as a solid. I paid them, of course, for their time, but it was just a friend of a friend. Happened to be a lawyer. Was your roommate embarrassed? He was fucking like, you can imagine. He was mortified. I mean, how would you feel if all your porn habits were drug out in front of your roommates and it was going to cost them fucking $25,000, maybe $30,000 after court fees and lawyer fees and shit? Started making all kinds of fucking promises. I was like, dude, you ain't got this fucking money. Don't lie to me. You know how I know you don't got this kind of money? Because neither do I. And there are two of us. There's two incomes, and we ain't got that kind of money just sitting around. So
He was getting a little sweetheart deal staying in the room, right?
he was. But he was working at a fucking record store.
Yeah.
So he wasn't exactly pulling in Papa Big Bucks or whatever the fuck. I know he did not have no fucking $25,000 sitting anywhere. Or anything worth it. But after that happened, as you can imagine, I re-examined my position on downloading shit like that. And it wasn't that stopped me, but it really caused me to look at my position in life and go like, dude, Paul, you're at a position in your life where you really don't have the excuse that you had back in your 20s. In my 20s, I downloaded shit because I literally could not afford it. If I wanted a video game, I didn't have $50 to buy a video game. I'd have $40. So I would download that shit. If I wanted a music album, I didn't have $20 to go in and buy the CD. I didn't. So I had to download it. And it really woke me up to that. I was like, dude, Paul, you're like in your 30s now. You're stable. You got a really decent lower middle income and shit. You can afford to buy a CD. You can afford to buy a digital fucking album. You can afford to fucking buy a movie if you want to, or rent a movie, or fucking whatever. Because honestly, that was all. It was always a poverty thing for me. It wasn't out of some stick it to the man kind of thing that I stole that shit. Back in the fuck. Wait, when I say stole that shit, I mean back in the fucking day. Downloading movies or downloading music or whatever the fuck. It was out of a simple, I was just fucking too poor. And I needed music in my life. So what are you going to do? It's too poor and I'm a movie buff, and I have to be able to turn my fucking brain off at some point in my life. Metallica and Prince were really salty when Napster came out. Yeah. Well.
You wouldn't download a car, bro?
Yeah. Would you download a car? Actually, we did that today.
Yeah.
We downloaded a car today. We paid for it, but no, that's kind of cool. I may have to abruptly leave because they're delivering our car today, which is nice. We've been carless for a couple of months here.
Yeah.
We've been Ubering and blah, 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 and so... What kind of car?
It's not an impressive one, y'all.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you exactly what kind of car it is, but it's not like an impressive car. It's a very, very sensible little car for us to putt around in. I'm not a big fat spender. No, it ain't no Tesla. I would tell you guys, dude, I would flex if I had a Tesla. I'd be like, here's my drone that came with my Tesla. My Lambo. Yeah. Do you like muscle cars? Kinda. Like if I was super wealthy or something, I'd probably have one muscle car. Like an early to mid 70s Corvette Stingray, competition orange, black racing stripe, offset to the left, so it hits the driver right in the fucking face and goes up over the hood and off the trunk. That is my dream car. If you've never heard one of those or sat in one of those 73, 74, 75 Corvettes, dude. I'm not even a big fan of like Chevrolets or whatever the fuck, or cars in general, but that car to me is smoking. Sexy, sexy, sexy. Yep, competition orange, black racing stripe, straight down the driver's side. Down the bumper, up over the hood, up over the top, down the back. Like a goddamn futuristic spaceship machine. I mean, we probably won't go on a little drive around the countryside today, but yes, we're probably going to plan some little day trips and stuff now that we've got a car and can zip around a little bit.
But I 100% promise you, Phoebe, you're not going to guess it. So. No. Stop trying.
Taint's gonna happen. A 57 Plymouth Fury. You like those older big body cars. Those are cool looking. I'll tell you what, man, when they're tricked out too, when they're like rotted, those are cool. The 1930s Mercuries. Yeah. No, I'm not a motorcycle guy. I could give a fuck less about a motorcycle. I mean, I can appreciate a very pretty motorcycle. Like if somebody's got a badass motorcycle, I can be like, but I'm not real like interested in ever having one or owning one or whatever. Yeah, dude, Screech is dead. What the fuck, man? Screech?
What are you gonna do?
What the fuck? He got cancer and just fucking keeled over. Got like small cell carcinoma or some shit and just was diagnosed in January and he's dead today. This isn't my flea circus.
Well, y'all gotta check all your shit. Check your balls, check your titties, check your fucking skin.
Yeah, I mean, what else do I need to check, man? Holy shit. The paranoia setting in. I think I'm paranoid. I know. Serious.
Oh yeah, I forgot Larry King died.
Yeah, Larry King. These things, they always happen in threes. Who will be the third? That's what my mom would say. These types of things always come in threes. Who's it gonna be? Man, why are you guys fucking death pooling some cool people? Yeah, throw out the McConnells. Why is Jack Nicholson coming up, man? Who wants that day to come? Willie. Why? Why? Why would you even put Willie there? Paranoid, paranoid, everybody's coming to get me. Just say you never let me. We'll run it up the flagpole and see who still looks, but no one ever does. Peep Show, you ever seen it? No. I've not seen Peep Show. Yep, that is Harvey Danger's flagpole sitter. Absolutely rampaging up the charts. Did Stephen King make good movies? I mean, yeah.
They ain't all winners, but
No. I mean, are you talking about the ones that like because he only directed fucking Maximum Overdrive and shit. And that's a good movie. Some of them, are you talking about the movies based around?
he's behind you.
Got my back there, D? I mean, he wrote Misery. That's the thing, is like a lot of these movies, he didn't make them, but he wrote the stories that inspired them. He wrote The Shining. He wrote Carrie. He wrote fucking Christine. He wrote The Dead Zone. He wrote It. And so, well, yeah, he directed the Shining miniseries, yeah, which is horrible, by the way. What's wrong with you, D?
He's sitting on my chest instead of my lap.
Why are you so crazy?
Scooch your butt down. Ugh.
No, man, I like British shit. I like Guy Ritchie movies, usually. I'm not a huge fan of his editing style, but it works in a lot of movies. We saw The Gentleman recently. That was good. We watched Snatch together not that long ago. That's a good one. That's my favorite Guy Ritchie movie, probably. Although I really liked The Gentleman as well. It was good. No, I like some British shit. I like Barry Lyndon. You know what I mean?
For most British.
That's about as British as they come right there. I like Train Spotting. I like you know, Sir Barry of Lyndon. Yeah, I saw Gerald's game. I liked it. Yeah, Irish is part of the UK. You guys don't get to pretend that Ireland ain't part of it.
Y'all just get along, Ireland. Set aside your differences and unite.
I'm gonna drop a tab later. What documentary should I sit through next? Everyone you've pointed me to so far has been incredible. Huh. So you've seen those two Adam Curtis documentaries I'm always putting you on to.
What about The Vow?
Huh?
What about The Vow?
The Vow is a good one. That's a documentary series though. On Netflix, might be kind of,
HBO.
or HBO, yeah. I don't know, man. In that same vein, there aren't many documentaries that, I'm aware of, to be quite frank. Like I've seen, I don't know if you've seen The Smartest Guys in the Room. That's a good documentary. But that's about the rise and fall of Enron. It's kind of adjacent, I guess, to that sort of thing. Couldn't super chat on my main account. YouTube is dumb. Anyway, TikTok is greater than porn. Okay. Whatever you say, boss. You know what? I tell you what, I came up with the documentary that you need to watch. It's very different from the other ones, but I think it'll give you I think it'll be a good documentary. You need to watch a documentary called The Devil and Daniel Johnston. It is a documentary about the recently deceased outsider musician, street musician, and all-around fucking true American weirdo, Daniel Johnston. May he rest in peace. And it's a pretty compelling documentary. Plus, that'll be a good one to fry balls to. It's got a lot of strange imagery. Do you cry at movies, Paul? Only very rarely.
Dude, I got so sad with It's a Wonderful Life. I cried like 4 times we watched it.
Yeah, you're a quiet crier though. You don't let on that you're crying. I didn't know you cried a grand total of 4 times until you told me later.
We
But
just in a fucking mood that day.
yeah. Well, and that movie is especially, you know, it's a tearjerker. What are you gonna do with it? It's a relatable movie. Everybody's felt like giving up. Everybody's felt like committing suicide. And everybody can understand the simple fucking idea of the fact that your existence in the world sends ripples out that change things, you know. And I don't think everybody in the world, like if you weren't around, your town would be like stripper Vegas or whatever the fuck. But, you know. You cried to Toy Story 3? Yeah, I talked about it earlier, King Bean. If you could jack into the dark web without negative repercussions, what would you search for? Like isn't all the conspiracy shit supposed to be on there? Like the truth about the aliens and the truth about this and the truth about that, and that all supposed to be on there? I go looking for that, yo. I want to know those things that we should not know. Heroin? No. No, thank you. I'd rather not be a junkie. I'd rather not. Let me see if I can fix this a better way. This works infinitely better. I need to start doing it this way. I'm an idiot for ever not doing it this way. Jack in, what is this? Lol, cyberpunk, what? What? Yeah, this is cyberpunk, dude. Like, where are you at? I'm broadcasting from the outskirts of Night City. Getting into heroin is a nightmare, yeah. All I feel is I am one of your few teenage fans. Use me as proof you are cool and hip. Kid, what are you doing watching me? Listen to me. Listen. There are titty streamers that need your money, okay? There's a whole economy of titty streamers over there on fucking Twitch that desperately need your money. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. Who is going to support them? Who could it be now? Life, it don't get better, kid. I mean, sometimes it's sweet, but a lot of times it's sour. What is a juggalo? Is it indeed somebody that'll tie a rope around his nuts and then jump from a 12-story window? Damn. That's hardcore, man. What is a juggalo? What's the best ICP song that's ever been made? And don't say Miracles. I don't want any meme answers to this shit. Unless that's your actual belief. Chicken Hunt. Homies? Just talking about homies, homies. Miracles is your favorite. Yeah, well, hey, I told you if it was, you could say it. Piggy Pie, good one. Good choice. I like that some of you are picking the old good shit. And your death comes wicked, painful, and slow at the hands of Malenko. The first little piggy, his house is made of wood. He lives in a chicken turkey piggy neighborhood. He likes to fuck his sister and drink his moonshine. A typical redneck, filthy fucking swine. Three little piggies make a piggy pie. There's nothing like the sound when you hear a piggy die. How's Mr. Cal not considered one of the greatest rappers of all time? He was literally James Brown if he was a rapper, dude. Mr. Cal was fucking amazing. Nobody sounded like Mr. Cal either. I'm trying to remember what his fucking... Because he ran around with like, if I'm remembering correctly, he was a No Limit soldier, right? Yeah, he ran around with Master P's crew. You know who else was really good? Had a really lazy flow? C Murder. C Murder. I know you motherfucking feel me. C Murder. Ain't gonna die till the bitch neighbor kill me. C Murder. But yeah, no, Mystical was awesome, but he burned out too bright, man. You know, another dude that I wish would have like stopped with the memes and started coming with some more hard shit. Fucking what's his name? I know that's not helpful. What is his fucking name again? Waka Flocka Flame. How's he gonna come in and drop hard in the paint and then just kind of like... I demand that Waka Flocka Flame fucking... I demand. That he make another fucking album. dude. That fucking beat is just so... Brick Squad. I'ma die for this song. I'ma die for this shit, man. I swear to God. It's one of them raps that I know the words to, but I can't really do it no more. I might drop an N-bomb. Balling Out is good, but I mean, it doesn't hit me the same way that Hard in the Paint does. Oh yeah, you guys go watch that fucking preview. I gotta end this anyway. Go watch the patron preview. Get out of here. Or not the patron preview, the fucking pleb episode that's premiering. See you later, bye.